I think with mystical experiences or psychedelic states, there are kind of two aspects, I guess, that really loom large to me. One is the weirdness, the kind of, it's like relentless form, relentless stuff just happening, twisting and turning. And so with McKenna, this would be language and kind of puns and all this kind of, puns are a big thing for Hofstadter as well, right? It's all this kind of self-referential, loopy, tangled knot kind of stuff, which is actually the kind of front cover of your book, right? Is this logo of a tangled knot of all the authors' names. But the strange thing to me is that the flip side of that is when you're immersed in the relentless kind of complexity of the weirdness, there's a kind of an unchanging stillness that can be detected. I mean, to me, this is the kind of the thing that's astounding about consciousness. It's like the one thing that's just this kind of perfect, pristine light that's shining on all this weirdness happening. And they can't be separated. It's like separating waves from water. You've got all this churning, strange stuff that makes up biology and experience, and especially in psychedelic states. But then there's also this kind of, I guess that's what you just as, right? And I know you've been a kind of, maybe I should just ask you what your stance is on meditation at the moment, because you've written a range of different things on kind of meditation and enlightenment.
It's funny. I have a very sort of conflicted, almost like a within the family relationship with Buddhism. I mean, going back to when I was a teenager and I was really into, I had friends who got into transcendental meditation and who even chased after some of the, these gurus who were coming over from India and attracting all sorts of followers and accumulating great wealth here. And so I learned Kundalini yoga. I learned various forms of meditation. I practiced it sporadically, but I never got anything remotely approaching what I got from taking LSD and mushrooms and things like that. I've gone back to meditation at various times in my life, usually when I was feeling sort of anxious or, I unsettled, and I needed something to help me deal with my emotional difficulties. And I never lost my fascination with enlightenment and my desire to be enlightened if such a state existed. And so a couple of summers ago, I actually I just finished Mind Body Problems. And so I was sort of restless, looking for something to do. And I went on a 1 week silent Buddhist retreat. And it blew my mind. I wasn't, so I was doing a lot of meditating, but mainly I was just kind of lying around, especially lying on my back on a lawn at this retreat center in upstate New York, and looking at clouds go by. And it was an extraordinary experience. I felt like I was tripping for a whole week. So the world became sort of magical, and the weirdness was popping out at me, but it was also beautiful. So it was this wonderful aesthetic experience. And so I wanted to pursue that and to expand upon it. And it just didn't happen. I've got too much, I don't know if it's attention deficit disorder, but I need to be busy and to be doing things. And so actually at the moment, and I've tried to meditate since then, and I've been successful somewhat, but just like a month ago, I decided, my semester ended and I was looking for something to do with myself this summer, and I thought of going on another retreat, but instead I decided that I was going to learn quantum mechanics. And really learn it, understand it mathematically, instead of in this bullshit half-assed physics for poets kind of way that I've always really understood it. And so I've got I'm holding my laptop up on a couple of books I'm using. So here's a book on calculus. I've got a book on on linear algebra, and I've been reading a bunch of books on quantum mechanics, and I realize it's giving me something similar to what I had in the retreat. I'm so directed toward this single goal that all my sort of worries and anxieties kind of fall away, and it feels kind of like a meditative state, even though it involves a lot of difficult mental exertion. So this is a long-winded way of saying that at the moment I'm not really meditating very much, but that's because I found something that does the same thing for me. And the thing about meditation that I realized on this retreat, and the conclusion that I reached about enlightenment, is that it is a state of absolute goallessness, where you just accept exactly where you are and you don't aspire to be anything more than that. You know, all your goals, all of your busyness just kind of dissipates, and here you are. It's the old cliche of being here now. And I understand that, and I still believe that, and I know that that's a wonderful state to be in, but I feel like that's not what I really am. I like to have projects, I like to have goals, and then it's a matter of finding a goal that is fulfilling for me. And right now, understanding quantum mechanics so I can second guess all those people who say that, you know, many worlds is the right interpretation, or David Bohm's interpretation, that's the right one. So I can say, yeah, you're right, or no, you're actually full of shit. I know what I'm talking about.
I was pleasantly surprised when I read your article on your meditation retreat that it was with Lama Surya Das, who who's a kind of a Dzogchen meditation teacher, and that's a fairly niche kind of strand of Buddhism, but it's the one that resonates most strongly with me. So I wasn't expecting that to arise, and it's interesting given what you're saying about the study of quantum mechanics for you being a way of accessing this stuff, because that comes out of the kind of the Vajrayana Tibetan Buddhism tradition, which is where Tantra comes from, right? And Tantra is all about using your energy, not like trying to get rid of your energy. It's like using it, doing stuff to reach these states. So I wouldn't be surprised if in that tradition that, you know, there's something equivalent, you know, to using, you know, don't turn away from that energy, do it, study it, exhaust yourself with studying until you kind of experience these states this way. But yeah, and you mentioned the kind of looking up at the sky, because I think in that tradition, one of the practices is called sky gazing. And I think, yeah, the kind of vibe is one of, right, just kind of being maximally open, right? Meditating with your eyes open, mouth open, and you're just kind of fully surrendering. And if you're just staring at a kind of expansive blue sky, you can just get this feeling of this huge expansiveness where you kind of drop away. And there's just this kind of, the thing I was referring to earlier, the kind of the thing that's unchanging and still in the midst of all the kind of the weirdness and the loopiness of existence. Yeah, there's the thing, as you said, be here now, right? The kind of coming to the present. And I think they were friends, actually, Ram Dass, who wrote Be Here Now, and Lama Surya Das. I think they both went to the same ashram.
That makes sense.
I recommend people check him out.